Hello and welcome to this episode of Focus On with me, Kiamkhatso Mosipele. As investors face an increasingly challenging local economic landscape, banks look to introduce new and innovative solutions aimed at expanding investment opportunities. Earlier this month, Nedbank Private Wealth offered a new product to their private banking clients, the Actively Managed Certificate, offering a unique way for investors to access international markets. Joining me for more on this is Jason Binneman, the Executive of Investments at Nedbank Private Wealth. Jason, thank you so much for joining us. Now, I have briefly touched on the launch of this investment vehicle, but I'm sure you know a lot more than me. Just walk us through what is AMC and how does it work?
Sure. So an AMC, or Actively Managed Certificate, is a listed instrument on the JSE that this is in partnership with UBS and allows us to invest in international markets in a reference portfolio managed by the team locally, and takes away a lot of the tax and administrative burden that normally accompanies direct international investing.
And just carrying on within that context, you've just mentioned a benefit, but what are some of the other benefits that AMC offers South African investors?
Sure. So from an investment perspective, our local market has been shrinking in number of listings over a very long period now, 10, 15 years, which narrows the choice of businesses that one can invest in. And there is a whole modern economy out there that is not accessible on the local market, but is accessible via global markets. So the ability to invest internationally, and there are many vehicles to do that. This AMC is one way to do that, gives our clients access to some of those great quality companies and participate in their growth over the next 5 to 20 years.
And I also just would like to know what informed the development of this product, especially from your perspective as a bank.
Sure. So if I may call it a solution rather than a product, so it started out with a very simple question: how do we give our clients access to great quality internationally listed shares while taking away the tax complexity, the administrative burden, as well as a lot of the paperwork around asset swap or foreign exchange control allowances? And we looked at a number of options, and this Actively Managed Certificate was the most appropriate one for this particular thing that we're trying to develop.
So just also then speaking towards how this investment vehicle is structured, I just want you to walk us through the investment strategy of the AMC and some of the other components. What type of assets are included in it as well, and how diversified is it?
Sure. So we have a 21-year track record of investing clients' assets and market beating at that. Diversification, as I say, is the only free lunch in investing. Being able to increase the exposure to broader companies and industries internationally improves that diversification and gives us a better chance of delivering the inflation plus returns that we aim to give our clients. As to what will be in this portfolio, we're looking to put in 15 to 25 high quality, what we call private client stocks into this portfolio. This is a tried and tested process and 100% aligned to our valuation-based, long-term, well-considered investment process. We have very seasoned and well-qualified investment professionals that have been doing this for a long time, and this is an addition to that.
I'm also interested in terms of the duration of the investment. I understand that you can begin with the first 7 years, but just like you've mentioned in some of the press releases and other information you've given out into the public, they can renew it. Just walk us through that particular choice as well, and what are some of the predictions as well that you expect to see in terms of how it will perform?
Sure. So the nature of the structure is that it is a 7-year debt instrument, so it's underwritten by UBS. Um, but there is a rollover facility for 7 years and another 7 years. So it's just say 21-year uh, lifespan, and there are many options to extend it after that. As to the returns expected, we expect equity-like returns. Our hurdle rates for uh, returns from equities start at 15%, and the more risky the share, the higher the hurdle rate there. And so we would look to target that over a 7-year plus time frame. We do have a very long-term process, so we're not traders of stocks, and typically look at investment cases in the 3 to 5 year range.
And also, I'd just like for you to, speak to investors who, at the level that they're functioning, are exposed to a plethora of investment choices. Understand that the AMC is also tailored in line with market changes. Why should an investor choose this particular solution, as you've mentioned, over some of the other traditional investment pools like exchange traded funds or other pooled investment products that are similar in nature?
Yeah, so I think all things there's complementary aspects to those. Just the big differentiator between this particular instrument, the Nedbank Private Wealth Global AMC, and an ETF on the market, is an ETF tracks an exchange. So, for instance, tracks the S&P 500. Our global AMC is an actively managed portfolio, so would only have 15 to 25 shares that are in line with our specific Nedbank Private Wealth investment philosophy and process, and has been tailored to complement our local or domestic investment process. So I don't. The difference is passive versus active. So our one is a active fund, but there is a role for uh, passive solutions as well in every client's portfolio. So I
And
think
what
complementary, not in competition.
Hmm, hmm. And what is the liquidity of the AMC?
There's daily liquidity. Well, one can trade it on a daily basis. So yeah, it's like any other instrument listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. If they're willing buyers and sellers, then there will be liquidity.
Okay, and also I just want to touch on just your personal thoughts and expertise. I understand you boast over 2 decades of experience within this field. Just your personal thoughts or perspective on the launch of this investment product and its entrance into the market. Why do you think investors should consider putting their money into it?
Yeah, so my personal thoughts, this has been a 10-year plus journey to get to this point. I'm really proud of the team that have developed this. It's a great way for us to express our investment process and philosophy into international markets. We have actually been implementing that process for over 7 years in our unit trust. So we have two flagship unit trusts, one an equity one, Nedbank Private Wealth Equity Fund, as well as a high equity multi-asset fund, the Nedbank Private Wealth Diversified Growth Fund, both of which have contained many of the shares that will be in and are in this AMC. So yeah, why should investors do it? It's a great, as we covered it earlier, great diversification. We get to give our clients our investment process and philosophy, and so that's all lined up with their domestic allocations. And we have a great track record. Our unit trusts are top decile over the last 3 years. So we think we can offer clients risk-adjusted inflation beating returns over the medium to long term.
And just before we go, I just also want you to walk us through some of the other perks or the features of this investment product. I understand that investors will also benefit from quarterly portfolio updates to stay informed about the evolving market opportunities, as well as simplified administration and competitive pricing. Just walk us through what makes it so different and what makes it so special.
Yeah, so I don't think reporting is a standard in the industry, and we should be reporting back to clients so they can hold us accountable that we are doing what we're saying. So yes, we will be reporting back quarterly. From a pricing perspective, it's an incredibly competitive 75 basis points relative to some of the, I guess, unit trust offerings in the market. And why I guess the real question is, why can we offer that competitive pricing? Is because of the scale. So we are able to put a whole lot of clients' investments together into one vehicle that creates wonderful scale benefits, and then we can pass that on to clients in the form of relatively low annual fees. And the lower your fees, you're almost pre-programming some relative performance to peers into it.
Well, Jason, it certainly does sound like a great opportunity, but that's unfortunately where we have to wrap up the conversation for today with Nedbank Private Wealth on the launch of their global AMC. From me and the CNBC Africa team, it's goodbye for now.